All right, everybody, welcome. This is episode number 1 of our new podcast, Whiskidiots. I'm hosting this. This is Joe S., and I'm joined by my good friend, Rich.
Hi, I'm Rich, and welcome to Whiskidiots, our first episode. Been looking forward to this.
Yes, we have. It's very exciting. So we are Whiskey for Dummies by Dummies. That's really important for everybody to know because we don't claim to be experts on anything. We are not whiskey distillers. We are not whiskey makers. We're not whiskey agers. We're just whiskey...
We're just idiots.
We're just idiots. No, we're whiskey drinkers, professional whiskey drinkers. We like to enjoy... the great delights of this wonderful spirit and share it with everybody. And what's really important is that we're not experts. I think that's really important, Rich, for everybody to know.
Yeah, so if you're going to leave any comments, remember, we are idiots. So,
right.
That is basically our disclaimer from now until eternity.
Until eternity. That's pretty much how we roll. And we've been carrying it for a long time as well. But just so everybody knows a little bit about our backgrounds, I've been in the film industry for about 25 years, professionally doing it. I've worked on some great movies. And Rich here has been in the music business for quite a while.
Yeah, I've been in the music business since I left school many moons ago. And we are here in the heart of the entertainment world.
We are deep in the heart of Hollywood here in Los Angeles. Yes, so coming to you from here, where we've been quarantining down. But now, Rich, the quarantine's kind of coming to an end here.
Well, you're in my social bubble now.
Yeah, I am.
So we're bubbling.
And I was out and about today a little bit and hit the beach and stuff. And people are out. People are out, and it's good. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But most importantly, it's really important that everybody know that we're all about having a good cocktail here and enjoying whiskey. We also want to highlight guests in the entertainment world, authors, film directors, restaurant owners, whiskey makers and distillers. And we have a large gamut.
We're going to try and get as many interesting guests on as we can while reviewing as many delicious bottles of whiskey through the whole gambit from India, from Scotland, from Japan to all the American bourbons.
Absolutely.
and the rye. So we're really going to get into it and just get a good taste for everything that's out there, and it's not going to be too in depth. So if you're new to the world of whiskey, it's going to be easy to understand. If you're already in the world of whiskey, hopefully we can entertain you with, some interesting guests.
Absolutely. And the point is also that we're going to be enjoying whiskey on the show. We're going to have a different bottle that we bring into every episode and showcase. I don't know if it's much of a review as much as just enjoying it, right? Which we're just going to kind of drink it, enjoy it, talk about it.
Talk about the notes, talk about all those little things.
We'll get into the tasting aspects of it all. Also how it's made, where it's from, that kind of thing. I think something that's really important, and I really want to highlight this, is that whiskey for me was very daunting for me for a long time. I was being in the music business for a while and that kind of thing. You're at shows and all that. I was a bar guy, club guy. You get whiskey at a bar loaded with ice, and I didn't know any better. It was usually like Doers or some cheapo.
Jack Daniels usually in the music industry.
Jack Daniels was good music industry too, and it goes all the way back to Sinatra, right? He enjoyed the Jack, and I think they have the Frank Sinatra Jack Daniels special.
I think one of the first introductions to whiskey people tend to have is a Jack and Coke. I mean, that is, or as it's called locally here, the Lemmy.
The Lemmy,
from Lemmy from Motorhead, of course. But yeah, so we're just gonna, we're gonna try stuff with a little bit of Coke in it, and we're gonna mix it up. So
yeah, and I think again, what's important is that whiskey was always daunting to me, and then you hear or read other whiskey publications and things, and it gets very technical and detailed where all these things I didn't know.
Well, let's be honest, it gets a bit bloody boring, doesn't it?
It does get a little boring. And it's become a long way. I mean, I can tell you in the last 10 years, bourbon, scotches, and things have gotten very popular. There's a whiskey society in LA that we belong to. We've been to tastings there at the 7 Grand in downtown LA, which is a great place, and I think we'll dedicate an episode to that in itself, which is great because they have some great stuff going on over there. But I want people to understand, when you're with us, take the journey with us. We don't know anything. We're opening up a new bottle every time, and we're going to just kind of talk about what we think and like of it,
literally, yeah. We're going to get inside the bottle.
And then I also want to talk about our guest today, because we do have a great guest today. Our friend Bill Kittle works for a large concert promotion company, and he's going to enjoy the bottle of the day with us as well today. He'll come in via Zoom and in a little bit, and we're going to talk to him about the concert business, because things are starting to open up, Rich. I'm looking around. Things are opening.
We're right in the middle of the COVID-19.
Which we're at the end. Maybe it depends on your view.
So anyway, it's going on. There's the quarantine's kind of been lifted quite a lot here in Los Angeles, California.
In the last 3 days, literally, we went from lockdown to starting to open up a bit.
But I know my friends and family in England, they're still on lockdown. So I mean, it's different all around the world right now. But it's a good time to do this show as well because people are going to start going back into bars. So hopefully we can give you some good ideas of what to order when you get into the bar.
And I did go to a bar this weekend in Hollywood. I went Saturday night to a good local spot here that is a music venue usually, and obviously they're not having bands yet or anything, and they capped the capacity limit to 200 people. It's a large place, and what they did was they set it up like a large lounge, like a large cocktail lounge, and a lot of the regulars came in for the first time. Everybody's seeing each other for the first time in months and months. You had to have a mask. You had to have a mask.
Yeah, thanks for the invite.
Yeah, you had to have they said friends and locals.
Friends, right.
But they set it up like a little cocktail lounge, and it was great. You could go to the bar and get a drink. You had to wear a mask. Once you got to your table with your party, you can decide to wear a mask or not. But it was good to see a music venue. I mean, they have bands usually. Back in the olden days, they had bands every weekend.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, these places got to stay open, I guess. But let's get into today's bottle, shall we?
We will. So we'll bring in Bill in a little bit, and we'll talk to him about where the concert business is going. He's tied in with some really big stuff, and some big stuff happened this weekend in the concert world. Okay. So we're going to bring that up with Bill as well. In the meantime, we do have a bottle of the day because it's time to start drinking.
It's time to start drinking. Without any further ado,
Rich, let's reveal the bottle of the day.
Okay, hang on.
And there it is. You got to point the label towards the camera, though, Rich. Okay. And there it is. So it's going to be some Wild Turkey Kentucky bourbon. And there it is.
What a great start to the show.
It's a great start to the show, considering that I've never been to Kentucky. And we're starting with some Kentucky bourbon.
We're also starting with something that I've never actually had.
And I never have either.
You've never had
I've never had Wild Turkey in my life.
Wow.
That's kind of why we picked it. It wasn't that much of a surprise, but this is our bottle of the day. Surprise to everybody.
Now, if you want to buy this, you can pretty much get it at every liquor store
or supermarket
in America.
Yeah.
Or supermarket in America, and it is usually under $20.
It's usually under $20, and
for all our fans in Europe, I'm sure you can get it.
I've seen two. So while we were out picking the bottles this week, I saw the Wild Turkey, the traditional bourbon that we're about to try. But there's also one called 101.
The 101.
Perhaps we'll highlight.
That's over 100% proof.
Is it something like that? Yeah. So I thought being a show in Los Angeles, Hollywood, doing an American bourbon would be a good way to start. Yeah. So we'll dive into scotches and things later,
right?
And Japanese whiskey and Indian whiskey and all that stuff.
So these are 81 proof.
81 proof. So 40.5% alcohol. So pretty strong stuff. I mean, let's
40.5.
Let's talk about the connotations of Wild Turkey, because I remember like in college and stuff, we got some Wild Turkey, and I was always like, somebody else next to me was always like, oh my God, my first puking disaster was with Wild Turkey after, I spent the night throwing up all night after a bottle of Wild Turkey.
Well, let's not build it up too much.
I want to say that though, because it is cheaper, and I bet you it's freaking delicious. Now that we know a little bit more about whiskey in the last 10 years that we've dedicated ourselves to trying to learn something.
I think we'll be able to appreciate it.
And I can tell you that, I was talking to my mom on the phone earlier today, and I was explaining the Wild Turkey thing. She was like, oh yeah, we used to have parties all the time, and all the doctors and surgeons, we lived in an area with a lot of doctors and surgeons. They all loved the Wild Turkey. That was their thing. Well, they loved it. And she was like, oh yeah, the juice to drink at the parties. So
a little bit about the history, Joe. When you mentioned that, it is one of the oldest
it is
bourbons in America.
It's from Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. Now, here's what I would go back a little bit. It was, what year here, Rich? 1891. It was the Old Hickory Distillery. Now, back then, I didn't know this till we researched a little bit for this. Back then, kind of like Coca-Cola did, because I went to the Coca-Cola Museum in Atlanta, and they did the same thing. It was actually pretty awesome. I set off the alarm at the secret, the vault, and I actually set off the alarm. And
you tried to steal the recipe?
No, I just wanted to see if the alarm really went off, and it did. And and the security guard was very friendly, but he said you could stay, but just don't do that again.
I'm assuming you were like 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah, no, I was 44.
So 44. Okay, sounds right.
But anyway, so let's. Back then, there was very few distilleries, and what they would do is they would make the product, the whiskey, and then sell it to other companies who were considered bottlers. Right. And those bottlers would bottle it into their own label and sell it as their own. And there was one guy in particular, I think his name was Austin Nichols, and this was after Prohibition in the 1940s.
Well, they did that before Prohibition.
Yes.
We'll do an episode on Prohibition and explain it to people who are not American, who are listening to the show and watching the show. So, but anyway,
that's correct. So
because it's a big thing in American,
huge thing, and because there were barrels hidden all through Prohibition and sold and drank, but there were many that became valuable items. I think after Prohibition, because they were locked away in government facilities and things like that. There's a whole thing about that we'll get into.
The whiskey reserves, like the maple reserves in Canada.
So the Wild Turkey was bottled, and then there was one bottler in particular named Austin Nichols, who loved it so very much that he ended up buying the whole distillery outright and bottled it exclusively himself, and became what we know today as Wild Turkey. Right. Now, here's the most important thing that I want to bring up about Wild Turkey. To me, that was most interesting is that the master distiller has been over there for 50 years as the master distiller.
60 years, it says in our notes here.
60 years. And his name is
Jim Russell.
60 years master distiller at Wild Turkey.
A round of applause for Jim Russell.
He's the old turkey at Wild Turkey.
He is. He's
absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, thank you.
He absolutely is.
And then Eddie Russell, his son, has been working there since 81, and Eddie has been a master distiller for the last 5 years. And I think it says their name on the bottle. When I looked at the bottle of 101 at the supermarket earlier, picking up our supply, who's that? That's Eddie.
Eddie Russell has signed it.
So that's the son.
Yes.
And Jim Russell's the father. Maybe Jim's taking a back seat a little bit so his son can kind of take over as the master distiller. But I think that's kind of cool. And not only that, I think I would love to have him on the show.
Probably got cirrhosis of the liver.
Yeah, it's a great job. I mean, awesome job.
Come on,
master distiller. I mean, what a title! Better than what we're doing. Better than a whiskey idiot, I'd say. But I would have loved to invite them to come on and chat with us to talk about their careers and what they've done when we do the Wild Turkey 101. I think that's a great. I think
that's a great idea.
Guest. I'm better than bringing my dad or your dad. Car wash guy and accountant. I mean.
Yeah, well, between them, they've probably drunk quite a lot.
So they have.
Right. So anyway,
so let's taste. Let's do a little tasting.
Are you going to do the honors of opening it?
No, you're doing it, Rich. You're the man. It's closer to you.
All right, here we go.
And while Rich is opening the bottle, I'm just going to explain a couple things. What I want to talk about is that there is a professional whiskey tasting world. I mean, this is a real thing that happens, and there's notes and flavors and things you look for. So what do you think?
Do you smell the cork? No, that's wine.
No, I mean, why not? I thought you said something else completely pornographic because you have a funny accent. But yes, I smell the cork.
Cork. Yeah. All right, set the cork.
Okay, so it's
it smells of whiskey, right?
Yeah, it smells like snot now, but
yeah.
Okay, so that's so we're gonna let's go with a little set. Let's pour. So we got some shot glasses, which is probably the worst way to taste whiskey. I think when you go to those fancy tastings, they have those fancy little snifters.
So don't try this at home.
But let's go like halfway in the shot glasses. Yeah, we're not gonna shoot it. We're not gonna shoot the drink.
We're gonna shoot it.
We will shoot it eventually because we want to get a little tipsy as the episode goes on. And please join us. It smells really good.
Does it? Okay. Now we're supposed to just let it sit for a minute. So just let the alcohol burn off it a bit, because when you first open it, it's gonna smell quite alcoholic, and if you just let it sit for a while, all that stuff burns off a little bit, and then you really get to the proper.
And we're learning. This is stuff we've learned. Like I said, I grew up with my parents and my grandparents, like drinking like a handle of Doors every night, and just packing a glass with ice and pour a bunch of Doors in there, maybe a little water, and chug that till they passed out. And then also like I traveled a lot in my line of work, hotel bars. Go to. You get there, they jam a bunch of ice in the handle of whatever Clan McGregor or whatever you get at the Rite Aid, and they pour it in there, and boom, you chug it. And that's how I drank whiskey for years. And then I thought I got more sophisticated when I was drinking Crown and Ginger. I was like, oh well, I'm drinking Crown and Ginger now. Look at me. And I learned it was all wrong once we started kind of doing this thing. So
I always used to drink it neat or with water or with ice. But anyway, let's get into this.
So there's American bourbon, Wild Turkey.
We're going to start with the color.
Also known as the Screaming Eagle, by the way. That's one of the nicknames, as well as.
I thought that was for the Pontiac Firebird.
Yeah, it's called the Screaming Eagle or the Dirty Bird.
The Dirty Bird.
Oh, I like that. I already got some cred with me.
Reminds you of some of my ex-girlfriends.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
The Screaming Bird. When she saw you. Yeah.
Okay. No, so I think we start with the color, because as the whiskey experts like to say, you drink with your eyes first.
You drink with your eyes.
Don't pour it into your eyes.
No, right. So
we are the Whiskey Idiots.
Yeah. So I see a nice caramel color. I'd say mid-tone. We've had some lighter stuff before. We've had some darker stuff. I would say this is right in the middle. Nice caramel color, right? That's as pretentious as I want to get. A nice caramel color. It looks like whiskey to me.
Looks like
whiskey to me. It smells like whiskey.
Let's give it a smell.
It's got a nice, no burn. I'm not getting a burn yet, but a nice scent.
Oh, you know what? I definitely get...
Very flavorful and rich.
I definitely get the vanilla notes, and...
I'm going with wood.
I get a hint of pepper. Do you get that pepper in that?
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit. I'm getting woodsy, and I think that's a trait of American bourbon. And I want everybody to understand
definitely getting some wood.
What makes a bourbon a bourbon. Number one, I've heard the most important thing is it's got to be distilled from 51% corn, and then the other 49% could be barley and rye and things like that. But it's distilled from corn.
Then you can definitely smell
51%.
You can smell the corn, right?
You can smell the corn. And I had an American whiskey this past weekend.
A little cornflakey.
Little cornflakey. You think so? Little cornflakes.
Just a touch.
Yeah. Okay. So let's taste.
Okay,
we gotta go in. We're too sober right now. We're that's 20 minutes in.
This. Okay.
So we're drinking neat for anybody who's following. Ooh. I kind of like it.
Yeah, that's not bad actually.
I almost got a little reminiscence of Scotch. I've tried other bourbons, like I drink Bullet and all these other things that are a little sweeter. I got a little Scotch. Maybe there's something. So maybe it has to do with that 51% corn. Maybe it's the barley. Maybe they're using a lot of barley in the rest of the recipe.
Tell you what, it is. Just
quite good.
Just drinking it neat like this.
No burn. I'm not smelling the burn.
Very pleasant.
I'm not feeling the burn.
And I actually read something about this that said because we got just the regular wild turkey, we didn't get the 101. There's a lot less burn. The 101's got a little more burn.
Well, more proof, more alcohol volume.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is a little more. It's a little mellower. So
it's really nice. Very shocking.
Oh.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Oh.
It's gonna put a little hair on your chest. I'm not gonna lie about that. I like a little strength.
Yeah.
I want a little something in there. A little.
Oh yeah,
it goes down hard.
Okay, right.
It's but I want to say this. So we're drinking. So everybody can understand. We're drinking it neat. If you're following along, you've not drank a lot of whiskey or tasted. Let's say done a tasting. It's not like wine. There's different ways to do it. Oh, the legs. We didn't look at the legs yet, but which is like wine. But we're drinking it neat. So neat means just no ice, no water, no nothing. It's just straight up in a glass.
I'm gonna just pour myself another.
I do see
neat
legs.
One.
Yeah, give me refill me there. Refill me there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then
So the legs. We got legs.
Okay. Is this ZZ Top?
All right, little ZZ Top reference.
I
see a lot of legs. I got a nice, syrupy, thick ring around the glass, and it's dripping nicely back in the whiskey. That's really nice.
That looks like a.
And you got a 60-year master distiller. You know they're gonna do something right.
Yeah, it looks like a centipede. Look at all those legs.
Oh, fantastic! Really delicious.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm
really,
enjoying
really
this.
good. I'm liking it a lot, actually.
Okay, all right.
So far, for the price point, for $19,
For 19
you got a really
bucks.
good American bourbon here.
This is a bargain.
And so far, I can tell you that I would mix this already into an old fashioned or a. And I've had Buffalo Trace. The other ones, my go-to for that is going to be Makers, Buffalo Trace, Bullet. But I mean, God, I'm
good.
impressed. I'm impressed.
It's going down very easily. This and I mean, if you're just getting into it, this is a great start. This is a great starting place.
It is
for
which
bourbon.
I think we made a good choice. And this is for real. We've never tried this before. Neither of us have ever had this. As much as I've seen it, and I've just kind of steered away from it because the scary stories I may have heard from people who
I think people
don't know how to drink or enjoy.
I think people get put off by the price as well, because it's such a cheap. It's like one of the cheapest ones.
It's big. It's big and it's
they do
it's a big distillery. They've been around a long time. Why not?
It in volume.
They've do it in volume. They figured it out.
All right, so we're gonna have to go for ice next because we're not gonna have much ice left if we don't do ice.
Okay,
now.
well, so ice. Well, that's fine because ice kind of leads into the water thing. So what you do is Again, I've been to so many bars or a club wherever where you order a whiskey and they just jam it or a scotch. They jam it with ice, like tons of crushed ice, and they just fill up the.
So I've got a couple of cubes in there. Wow, we're actually getting through this pretty well.
All right, so a couple of cubes. I'll take a couple.
All right, just shuffle them in there. Oh, there you go.
And here's the thing. So when you order on rocks, you should just get no more than 1 or 2 cubes. Sometimes they have bigger ones. Sometimes they have 2 smaller ones. Yeah, don't do the crushed ice thing.
I like a couple.
And don't do those rocks. Don't do those cement
rock
things.
Something just wrong about crushed ice.
All right. Well, cheers to that here. Right, so this is not ice. It's a nice, classy way to drink it. Now the point of the ice is that it makes it a little cooler, and also the water from the ice runs down into the. It opens up. Water will actually open up some whiskey. Sometimes in bars they'll give you, if you go to a real sophisticated place, you get little eyedroppers with water.
Oh, try that. That is good. That is some good stuff.
I got the vanilla now.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. And a little pepper. I got the vanilla and pepper much more because the ice and the water opened up the flavor a bit.
Oh, that is delicious. Oh, I could drink that all night.
So here's an interesting fact I want to bring up about wild turkey.
I'll be surprised if this bottle lasts till the end of the show.
So they and it's got a little bit of smoke to it. So here's important. They do what's called an alligator char, which means that. So I'm gonna explain how whiskey's made. It's distilled. It's clear. It comes once it's they take corn, barley, and rye. It's distilled. Once it's distilled, it's put into barrels when it's clear, and then it's in the aging process where it can age anywhere from 2 years to 10 to 12 to 18.
Gives it the flavor,
the color from the barrel. And then you only use the barrels once. Bourbon barrels, once you use it once for a batch, that barrel goes to Scotland, becomes a Scotch aging barrel, but you can't redo bourbon again in the same barrel. So what they do is they do the darkest char, which means they burn the inside of the barrel, and they do a very dark, almost pitch black char inside the Wild Turkey barrel. They put the clear liquid in there. And then or the juice, as we call it.
How long does this sit for in those barrels? Do we know?
I don't know how long it's aged. Since it's mass produced. Since it's mass produced, Rich, I'm going to say not too long. I'm going to say maybe 5 years or so, but I don't know. And that's something. If anybody, please email us and ask us at whiskidiots@gmail.com.
Because I wonder if there's a minimum
American
age.
oak barrels.
I think there might be a minimum.
So I had an American whiskey over the weekend that's made here, that's bottled here in Los Angeles. We'll do an episode on that because there's some really cool people involved with that one. But it's only aged 2 years. They distill it in Indiana. They bottle it in Kentucky. They age it in Kentucky, and then they bottle it in Los Angeles. And they call it American whiskey because it does not have the 51% corn element. So they can't call it bourbon.
But we digress. Let's get back to what
I'm going to say 5 years or so, probably. Okay. I mean, imagine this thing that's mass produced like this, waiting 10 years to have a screwy batch could.
Well, I'm just looking through our show notes now, and whoever wrote these didn't put down how long it was.
That would be me. But listen, here's the thing. A really important thing I want to discuss though. Just a little fun fact about Wild Turkey. In 2000, they had an aging warehouse where they kept 17,000 barrels, and it caught on fire and burned down. Yes. In turn, the whiskey drained down the mountainside from the warehouse into the river.
I had it
on fire.
Set fire to trees.
And set fire to trees on the way down, like lava, like molten lava, and then into the river, and then polluted the town, the town's water system. The schools had to close down all that stuff. So sounds like a country song to me in the making. Yeah. Whiskey, fire, river, right?
And I think they had to pay. I think it was around about.
They had to pay some.
It was like $500,000. Right? Is I think $500,000 to restock the water with fish. Right.
So yes, fish died. They killed everybody.
Oh my god!
They drank themselves silly.
What a way to go! What a way to go
with fire.
I mean, were people?
But they took care of the town. The good thing is, can you imagine the headlines that day in the paper? The turkeys at Wild Turkey caught on fire.
Oh,
right.
All right,
good for them. No, you know what? So far, they make an excellent product. I'm going to say.
So back to this tasting, because
so we do a little ice.
All right.
It's splendid.
It's just delicious.
I don't even know if I want to just try water plain. We already tried the neat, and we tried the ice. I think the ice takes the cake.
We've got those tiny little glasses, which could just do a tiny
shot. I got it quite a buzz going, so I'm good. This one happens when you drink fast.
Well, we have to keep the show.
We can't do a 2-hour podcast, so we're gonna drink. We're gonna do 40 minutes and drink really fast.
Yeah, we gotta keep the show going.
Yes, and I want to bring up that Bill, our guest, is standing by and waiting. I want to bring him up in a minute because he's gonna crack open a bottle of Wild Turkey too and tell us his thoughts.
Yeah, he's gonna join us with this. So water.
Oh, water. Yeah. I was like, I was ready to do a shot. I'm like, yeah, bring me the lemon and the salt. Let's go. Okay.
All right. Well, I think we're already drunk. So we're going to do just a smidgen of water.
Smidgen. Oh, that's
man, you just put it in your eyes.
Okay. Nice.
Okay, this is going great. This is great. For our first episode, we've managed
we're not experts on anything, and I want everybody to understand that. And that's the beauty, though. I don't think there are many whiskey experts out there.
We're not an expert on the difference between ice and water at this point. Okay, here we go. Just a smidgen of water.
Very nice. I will say that the water is very nice. However, the coolness of the ice adds a really nice element. Your cheeks are getting rosy.
Yeah, you know what?
I like the water.
I prefer it with ice.
I prefer it with ice too. I can drink that. I can drink that all night.
Okay. Now
I can be at a party or an event and have some Wild Turkey. And I'm surprised for the price point. You don't see it at more events where there's open bars and things. You know, like weddings or funerals. It's fantastic with the ice.
Yeah, it's delicious.
I mean,
it's much better with the ice. I mean, I'm going to shoot this just to make sure. Yeah, no,
it's great with the water.
Yeah, with the water, you definitely taste a lot more of the vanilla in the water. Okay, so back to this seems like a good point to introduce our new guest.
I would like to introduce our new guest.
Our very first
guest, Bill Kittle. Bill, you there, bud?
I am here, gentlemen.
And there he is.
There he is.
With his nice DJ setup. So I want to do a little intro on Bill. Bill's worked for a long time for a large concert promoter. For the purposes of our little tiny weenie podcast, we're not going to mention who that is. He's here on his own accord.
It's one of the biggest ones.
It's one of the bigger ones, and we'll leave it at that. But Bill, do you have your bottle of Wild Turkey? Please crack it open and enjoy it with us.
I definitely do, and I can neither actually confirm nor deny that Joe Rogan, I turned him down to be with you guys.
That's right. Thank you. Perfect. Great. So open up, man. Open up. Have a shot. Come on, drink with us. Have a drink. We recommend with ice. As you maybe have heard earlier, we were really enjoying it with some ice in it. It's really good.
Yeah.
I
feel ice is the way to go. Now,
in my
Bill,
opinion, this particular bourbon is great by itself. It's awesome with a little bit of water. It really brings out the caramel and the vanilla. Mm-hmm. And if you make a mint julep, even the crushed ice can actually make this really fantastic.
A mint julep. Well, Bill, why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Tell us a little about yourself. Here's what I want to know. First whiskey. What was the first thing? What was it when you got into this?
Oh yeah, what was your first?
What was your first whiskey? What'd you get into?
Jim Beam. That was my first whiskey.
Jim Beam was your first one.
When
Okay.
I pledged to fraternity.
Yeah, that's good. Jim Beam is American bourbon. It is American bourbon, right?
No, it's Jim Beam. There's Kentucky bourbon and Jim Beam.
Jim Beam is American whiskey.
Oh God, what?
God, we're so
Jim Beam is an American bourbon, and they lost 45,000 barrels last year in a large fire that dumped out into the river.
It is
just like Wild Turkey. So these guys got their act together as much as we do.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, Bill, crack it up and have a drink. So I want to start talking about music and things. So Bill ended up in Los Angeles and works for a large concert promoter. Have a drink. He needs to get one in there. Fill up the tank, Bill, before.
I absolutely have to agree. Even though this is only 40.5, just a couple of drops of water really opens.
It's really delicious. So it was the first time we've tried it, and we're blown away how delicious it is. Like I said, there were some negative connotations for me personally, for whatever it is, snobbery, or just some people told me some horror stories when they were kids. Because they probably stole it from their parents and drank too much.
Yeah.
And got drunk.
So Bill, that's a very nice glass you've got there.
So he's more pro than us.
Yeah.
Look at that amber color, the vanilla, the caramel, a little bit of corn, but man, oh man, it's so smooth. That alcohol does not hit you.
I'm going to say.
Thank you, gentlemen, very much for gifting me this.
That's right. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming on to our show.
Thank you for coming on our podcast. Guest number one, man. This is it. We popped our cherry with Bill.
Thank you, gentlemen.
That's great. Yeah,
fantastic. All right, so Bill, let's talk.
You could be the first and only guest.
That's right. Possible. So Bill, talk to us. So concert business. So you guys obviously got hit hard, as did anybody in the concert business. So everybody started, in March. My last show was around March 10th, 11th. I went to a concert, and and that was actually the last show I think that played in LA.
I think the last show I went was with Bill.
It might have been.
The last two shows we saw Keen over at the Chinese Theater, at the Kodak Theater, whatever it is now, and then Whiskey Myers at the Belasco.
Oh, we saw the Whiskey Myers. Look at that. Look at that. I never put two and two.
Yeah,
they were a great band as well. Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
So now everybody's canceled. So first it was, okay, everybody's canceling to the fall, including Coachella and Stagecoach. Everybody's like, we're canceling to the fall. Now it's full on canceled to 2021.
It's going to be interesting to see how the artists embrace what's going on right now.
Right.
And
they probably will, I would imagine.
I think it's going to be a unity type evening that people have been longing for even prior to the situation with the
correct. Right. So you got a unity of coronavirus quarantine, and then now you have a civil rights movement that's happening right in front of us. Right. That's going to bring us all together as well.
Yeah. I think it's going to be, the entertainment industry has always got a great opportunity here to bring people together, like it always has, to break down barriers, to bring people together. As long as they can figure out how to do it in a safe way, and people are just yearning.
Well, that brings up a great question. What about liability when it comes to all these people? Are we going to have to sign waivers?
Masks for sure. Maybe a temperature at the door.
But are we going to be? Well, but I think the temperature is just theatre.
I mean, it is theatre at this point.
But do you think, Bill, that when you buy your tickets, there'll be like some kind of release form saying with the purchase of this ticket, you release all rights to sue in case you get the COVID-19?
There already has been, and Joe, you might be able to speak with this from your production background. Yep. When you go into a facility, you give up your rights to be filmed.
That's
I don't know if there has been clauses for health. You can certainly guarantee there are going to be clauses back there. There might even be in some instances just to back it up, like Trump's little thing he's got going on in Tulsa. A handwritten waiver in addition to what's going on.
Now I can tell you that
on top of what Rich is talking about, temperatures, all the other things.
I've gone to a couple of places already in the last week, whether it's supermarkets. I mean, I've been going to supermarkets kind of all along, but supermarkets, large chain stores. I've been to a bar. They all have big signs now. Enter at your own risk.
Enter at your own risk.
So they're trying already to cover their butts on entering, because once you go in, I mean, you have to have a mask to get inside. Once you get inside, everybody's kind of like 90% takes off the mask, rubbing shoulders and all that.
Every entity has the right to refuse.
That's correct. That's correct.
No matter what.
Look, right now they're doing concerts and drive-ins. Tell me about that. Have you guys dived into that at all? The drive-in movie theater concert. Everybody sits in their cars with their party. They can't get out of the car.
Garth Brooks is getting ready to do a huge one. Our team has kind of been working on the advertising for that. That's no secret right now. It's going to be he's going to perform in Long Island. There's going to be 160 cars allowed, social distancing between the cars.
But at least we're igniting the spark to come back.
Exactly. That's the exact thing.
Is that a big money job for Garth?
Everyone is dipping their toe in the water in a different way. You've got Dana White really trying to blast it out. We can take from what they're doing, from what Australia
as a model. So
exactly. Grab little bits and pieces.
Yeah, and there have been a lot of there's been a few, especially in Australia and now in Germany. There's been a few drive-in concert shows. A little weird. There's one in Florida. Interesting, Bill. I don't know if you heard of this one. Maybe about 3 weeks ago, there was a company who did a concert in Florida. Not huge artists. They had a barge in the water in the Tampa Bay. They set up a barge with artists, and if you could drive up on your boat, you could have up to 10 to 15 people on the boat partying.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
I'm going to say that's kind of like a new model for concerts for me. I'm down to roll up on a boat and watch a band play on a barge and sun myself and wear whatever I don't want to wear or not wear.
Okay, now a quick thing, Bill, I wanted to ask you. Do you think that the age of the band is going to affect who's going to be coming out sooner than later?
And the meet and greets.
Absolutely. It's not even it's going to affect everything. For instance, in the NBA right now, they've made some coaches might not be able to sit on the benches. So you talk about a band like the Rolling Stones, and I don't want to talk about
but the Rolling Stones, Aerosmith, Kiss, Eric Clapton, there's plenty of guys who
So you say
I think the meet and greets are gone.
Yeah. So do you think it's going to just be the young bands that are going to start first?
I would have to think so, and I would have to think
small venues.
The drive-ins are going to be the thing, and like you said, meet and greets. That has to be a thing of the past.
But a big moneymaker. That's the thing. Huge moneymaker. The Stones did a meet and greet. Now, granted, they did theirs for charity, but it was like $25,000 a person. And you got a crappy ticket anywhere in the stadium. They didn't guarantee where you were going to be.
Anything
and you got a picture with Keith and Mick real quick, and off you went for $25,000. Big moneymaker. They donated to charity. But for other guys who, we all know, I mean, it's no secret, the record sales are been terrible for years. Touring is where it's at now. These guys who kind of rely on this, maybe a guy's in a club level. Who's a good example in a club level that's playing at maybe 5,000 a night, like a Judas Priest maybe, or somebody who's like that, older guys.
Yeah.
Now the meet and greets was a big moneymaker for them.
Anything that's taken away is going to be replaced by some sort of innovation. So, for instance, these Zoom meetings, you might be able to sign up on a list, and they might be able to do a personalized, instead of just a half a second handshake. They might be able to take more time on the tour bus.
And say hi for 5 seconds, right? For 10 seconds or a minute.
Like ex-Bruce Jenner doing them for $25,000 a pop to sing happy birthday. Mm-hmm. Innovation is definitely going to take over.
Oh yeah.
And I want to bring up
celebrity happy birthday.
Yes, well, that's been going on forever. That's on that. There's a website. There's an app for that. But there's an app for everything. But here's what I also want to bring up, Bill. Well, let's talk about BTS.
Explain who BTS is.
The biggest band in the world.
We'll explain this to people who don't know
the geriatric
K-pop
side. They're K-pop, so Korean pop superstars. They sing in Korean, a little bit in English.
You bring up an interesting point there. As huge as they are, there are so many people that still do not know who they are,
which is crazy. But you got to be in the age group. I mean, I knew who they were kind of, and then I got to work with them, which was fantastic. I had a great experience, super nice, and they're huge. I mean, they are huge.
Okay,
they're
can I interrupt for 1 minute? I'm going to get back to the whiskey for a second because I'm going to put some Coke in my whiskey.
I like to see that.
Bourbon. Yeah. I'm going to see. Bill, have you ever tried wild turkey with Coke?
I have not, but I've got 7-Up. I will give that a try while you do this.
Okay,
All right,
well, let's talk about BTS, Bill, real quick, because this weekend, I'd heard about this a few weeks ago. There were some bands in Finland and stuff that were going to do. Okay, remember everybody go back 2.5 months, beginning of COVID. There was this streaming, everybody was from home, DJs spinning from home. Erykah Badu did a great one, performing from home. And that was really cool, and it was free. And of course, and Rich and I talked about this while we were planning this podcast, was eventually somebody's going to monetize this. And I said, wait a minute, you reach a much bigger audience. Like, let's say they did a free one, the Rolling Stones did a free one, but imagine if the Stones did a concert together in a living room somewhere, an acoustic show, whatever it was, and streamed it for $10 a head. They'd probably get like 20 million around the world viewers. I mean, that's a lot. That's 200 million in your pocket without having to leave the living room.
And without having to pay your crew, without having to get on
right.
the bus, without having
Which
to...
sucks for the crew and the vendors and the concessions and all that. But let's just say that, let's say a U2 or a Rolling Stones did a living room concert and $10 pay-per-view, and you can do a little meet and greet if you wanted or put comments, and they play all their hits. Again, they're going to garner 20 million viewers. That's how big they are. At $10 a head, $200 million. That would have been a 2-year around the world tour for them to make that. So now let's talk about back to BTS. This past weekend, they just did a live streaming event that was you had to pay to be a participant, and they literally said the amount of viewership.
But you can only do it once, can't you?
No, you can't do it once. Do it multiple times. Do it twice in 1 year. That's more than touring for 4 years.
Tie those two things together. BTS doing their at-home Zoom, Rolling Stones not having to travel around the world. They could do concerts every night of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
it could become $1 billion industry.
You've got
segmented per city. Like, hey,
I think for a band like I think for a band like the Stones, you've got a deep catalog, so you can do.
It has to be somebody huge.
You can do certain eras of your career
over different concerts,
of different concerts, and that gives the legs of
Paul McCartney, Stones, U2. I think U2 for me, U2 always comes to mind as the biggest band in the world. I really think they are.
Yeah,
absolutely they are. Absolutely they are.
Yeah,
and
Rolling Stones and U2 every 2 weeks. Give them time to rehearse a new set list.
Yeah, and next thing you know, you got $200 million in your pocket. Granted, again, like you said, it sucks for the bus drivers and the roadies and the guys selling popcorn and beer.
But then let's be honest, do the Rolling Stones really need that much more money at this point? I mean,
it's a business, Richard. It's a business.
Yes, it is a business.
And he's in that. Bill's in that business.
Yeah, but
you can guarantee they'll take care of their crew. They definitely.
I think they will.
And a big shout out to BTS for their $1 million pledge for Black Lives Matter.
Absolutely, it is. And they're awesome. They're an awesome group. And I want to bring them up again just to point out the numbers. This weekend, they did this live stream concert from inside of a studio. It was enough to fill 15 stadiums, whatever that is. That's like 1.5 million people, probably 2 million people. Instead of traveling, they had a stadium tour. They were going to do 4 stadium shows in the U.S. this year.
Oh yeah,
they just filled 15 stadiums in one podcast one streaming video.
Yeah, if you look at the YouTube numbers, I mean the YouTube numbers are
300 million.
Yeah,
it's big numbers.
You're going to get.
Has all this led us into the streaming world now and into the not so live world?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Only because there's nowhere else to go right now. But I think that just goes.
How does it affect you?
I think it goes to show it's killing us. We have zero.
It is killing you. Right.
That goes to show the appetite. Hopefully, when we rebound, when we get a vaccine, and when the insurance companies, those are going to be the two biggest obstacles.
Yeah, the vaccine and a cure.
There's something else really important I want to bring up with Bill. Refunds. So everybody who had bought shows this summer for BTS or whoever was going to be at the Motley Crue stadium tour and all these things, I've heard rumblings that there were problems with the refunds at first. It was kind of like, we're going to reschedule, keep your ticket, you'll be honored. Then it was, well, we don't know if we're actually coming back because it could be a year from now. So now let's start refunding. Some promoters got heat for how quick they were responding, and that's a big job. You're talking about responding to millions of people.
Especially when you're depending upon the CDC, who's changing their information on it.
Of course. So now we all know that pretty much concert And on the big scale is kind of gone for a while, at least another 6-7 months.
It's done for this year.
Well, how's the refunding worked out? Are people still getting vouchers that guarantee them if the band comes around again, or have just straight up refunds gone out? Like, are people getting their money back?
I heard a metric on CNN from a industry CFO, I believe who it was, that said 8 out of 10 people were keeping their tickets, waiting for the reschedule.
Right. But what if it's like a Paul McCartney or somebody who might
Die.
never we still got two. We got Paul and we got Ringo. Okay.
You can always pick that needle out of the haystack and say, what about this particular one?
Right.
But, across the board.
People do want to hold on to them, which is crazy because they spent, here's the thing, they spent hundreds of dollars. I mean, tickets are not cheap anymore. You want to go see the Stones, it's $300 for nosebleeds.
Make no mistake about this. They will increase the ticket prices to make up
for the losses,
for all the losses that
which
they have
is like
done
the
this
bar
year.
I went to this weekend. I was explaining to you earlier. I went to a bar this weekend, and the one thing that bothered me was they raised all their drink prices by $5.
Yeah.
So what was normally an $11 drink, let's say I drink Johnny Walker Black when I'm out in a bar, $10 usually, $11 was up to $15-$16 for the same pour and same drink.
Oh, getting back to
a
whiskey.
really good point. The price point on Wild Turkey.
What's a beer? I know, which we talked about. What's a beer bill going to cost at Staples Center?
Oh,
what's a beer was already $20.
$30.
It's going to be $30. Everybody's got to make back what they lost.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. There are certain artists in the past that have regulated the pricing of their drinks and their beers. There was a particular artist that had a $20 ticket, $4 hot dogs, $4 beers. So it's going to be interesting. And that person.
But there's big losses now. Big losses.
Big losses.
Everybody lost. Look, your Metallicas and your Bruce Springsteens and your Aerosmiths are going to be fine.
But by the way, this with Coke is terrible. I mean, it's not a drink with Coke.
I'm not even going to pour one. I just want to try yours.
I mean, I'm going to be absolutely sozzled.
I'm going to say I'm already sozzled. That's why this broadcast is going so great.
What I find interesting to kind of get back on the concert level is I'm reading here online right now a drone-based cleaning company that is able to clean stadiums and arenas with drones on the inside.
Yeah, I saw something where people will walk through like a disinfectant tunnel and they'll just squirt you with disinfectant.
This sounds like Burning Man to me. I don't know. This is what you do when you go to a party. They wet you down, you take your clothes off, they strip you, and off you go into the party.
I had to do that to get into your apartment building. They have
exactly.
Yeah, right.
Honestly, Bill, I see 2021. We're kind of out of live music till then.
Absolutely.
So save up your pennies, everybody, because it's going to be pricey, but worth it. But worth it, I think. It takes time. It's all about time. We've all sat for 3 months enjoying our life. We got used to a life at home. We're pouring great drinks.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because this week was Gay Pride over here in West Hollywood. And Gay Pride was happening yesterday. And they have a big festival. And instead of the festival, they had a big march. And about 20,000 people marched into West Hollywood for Black Lives Matter. And I saw an interview with some kids on TV, and they're like, "Well, we're here for Gay Pride," and they were all outside the bars, and the bars were open, and it was they didn't have the big concert that they usually do for Gay Pride, but there was a lot of people out on the street, and there's a lot of people socially mingling, and there was no social distancing.
We're slowly bouncing back, but it's okay. We're slowly bouncing back, and it's going to lead to finally being able to.
Yeah. So look, if
we don't get the numbers. March, April, May, there were about 17 to 2,100 new cases a day here in California. Right. About 64 to 71 deaths per day. We're still at 66 to about 71 deaths per day, but we're over 3,000. But we're just off Memorial Day weekend, which was about 2.5 weeks ago or whatever.
But we're going into the summer.
And we're reopening.
Yeah.
So the deaths are staying where they were pre-lockdown, but we're reopening. So I don't know how you gauge all of that, we're around each other more, but the numbers are still staying fairly steady.
Like you said, Bill, the insurance companies don't care about protests and parades.
It's all about the insurance companies. Yeah,
now, when you get into big money like you said, big monies of concerts and things where there's people making a lot of money. Now you get into problems with insurance and things where people have an ability to sue.
Yeah. Speaking of insurance, today was the first day, or yesterday was the first day that production companies in Los Angeles can open up.
The 12th. Friday the 12th. But not everybody's opening. It wasn't like this all of a sudden, blitzkrieg of everybody just opening. And now it's, okay, we know the rules. Let's start slowly opening this week. Again.
I'm hearing nobody's open.
No, nobody's open. we're able to. They're trying to figure it out. They're trying to figure out the safe way to do it, and that's it. You know?
Yeah.
And the same thing for the concert industry.
They're trying to figure out how not to get sued, and
I think that's going to go away pretty quickly. I think it's just more a matter of everybody keeping everybody comfortable and safe as the concert business. Because I want to go to a concert. I want to see people wearing masks.
I don't mind at all wearing a mask. I think that's like it's one of the best things we can do.
It's polite and respectful.
How are you going to wear a mask at a concert when you're trying to drink?
Well, you do a little steal. Or we invent a new mask that you can drink through. But innovation, right?
Absolutely innovation. For instance, Deja Vu in Kentucky. It's a little establishment. You bring your own drinks there.
That's great. So there's a great
some
idea.
Some venues allow that, where you bring your own drinks.
Oh, God,
fantastic!
Not in this town.
Not yet in LA, but I'm going to be double slinging bottles like I'm going to walk in like Clint Eastwood. Right? I'm just going to walk right in and just have my two clinking along my two bottles, and they will be empty by the end of the night.
Maybe somebody innovates the drink mask. Maybe there's more innovation there.
That's right. But even at that, again, there's ways around it. There's ways. If you're social distancing with your little group, you can drink without a mask. But when you get into the venue and there's a big crowd, everybody wear masks. Be courteous to each other.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing about a concert venue is that everybody gets there's a lot of body heat, a lot of sweat, like there's a lot of fluids, bouncing around the.
That's you in the shower at the gym.
You're very close. You're very close. And very intimate in a concert environment, and that's
who are you going to see? Who are you going to see, Rich?
Last time you and I went to a
Dead
concert,
or Alive?
we were very close and intimate.
Oh, gosh.
But no, you are very close and intimate to people, and that's part of the great thing about being in a big concert with a lot of people is that whole everybody's together, and the crowd starts to jump up and down, and you're all like, everybody's in it, and everyone's shouting and screaming and singing along. That's a lot of spit and stuff flying around. So yeah, it will be a hotbed for the spread of anything.
I'm loving this wild turkey, by the way. Bill, how you doing on yours? How you doing on your bottle, bud? We're sharing one, so we're kind of killing it. I mean, yeah, there you go.
Is it date night over there for you guys? That's cute.
Every night, there's a lot of spitting and shouting going on.
There are certain ticketing companies that have verified fan. I would not be surprised if they introduce verified antibodies. Like if you can prove that you had the antibodies, that you might.
It's gonna be a thing. A little app on your phone, a little app on your watch.
Oh yeah.
But
like a little scout.
We'll see. But again, I mean,
something.
That's cool technology and stuff, and I'm into that. But also, we're gonna have to take the word for it, like as a human society. Like going out in traffic is dangerous. You go and cross the street, you're putting your trust in society.
Yeah, but if I get hit by a car, it's not going to affect my mom or dad. They're not going to get hit by a car as well.
What I'm saying is you're putting your trust, crossing the street, you're putting your trust in society. I'm going to put my trust in society too, that when I go out to a place that's somewhat crowded or whatever, that they're going to social distance, and somebody who has it knows not to be you're
just
like a dick who's not going to drive through the red light and run you over.
But that's why we have car insurance, because there's people who go through red lights. So
thank you, Flo.
But are you going to have concert insurance? That says if I catch COVID-19,
no, you go on your own risk, and that's really important.
Well,
stay home.
Yeah, no.
If you're worried about it, stay home.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. But that's the other thing, isn't it? If you're worried about it, stay home. But if you're not worried about it and you get it and you're asymptomatic and you give it to other people, that's not cool.
Let me pose a question to you guys. We're talking about driving concerts. What about driving movies again? Like, I don't want to go to
I'm not going to a movie. There's no way I'm going to a movie.
Driving movie?
A driving movie, yeah, but a regular movie?
They're going to social distance. They're going to take away. They're actually. I read this today. They're going to actually physically take seats out. So they have groups of like 2 or 3 seats.
Yeah, okay, so number one, you have to pay a fortune for your popcorn. You have to pay a fortune for your cocktails. You go and see a movie which is coming out on DVD, not DVD. It's coming out on streaming. On streaming the day it comes out.
That's another conversation another day. The movie theater thing is huge. It's a business that could potentially fail.
Yeah, I see the end of it.
Yeah.
I see
concert business won't. I think you guys will bounce back, Bill.
For sure.
No, people love live music because
the movies have had problems with streaming anyway.
Yeah,
since before the COVID-19.
The
concert business did not. streaming is a hard sell in the concert business.
The thing about live music is that when you go and see a band,
you want to see them in front of you.
Well, no, when you go and see a band, it's spontaneous. It's not the same every single time, right? And that's what makes that live experience so great, because you can go and see the same band on several different nights, and it's always a different thing, right? And Joe and I know this
because streaming, live music streaming, the sound isn't going to be the best. The visuals, the fact of being there. You party in the parking lot. You go inside. You get a beer. The band comes on. Mick Jagger's right there in front of you, and his sweat and spit is coming down on you. It's a very different experience.
You've got some very expensive tickets.
Streaming is satisfactory, but people want to leave their house. I seriously think
they do, but not for movies.
So for movies, wouldn't it be interesting if the movie people got in touch with Sirius and you're in your own car bubble where you don't have to listen to people next to you at a theater chirping away, and you've got your sound system?
That's a great
But I can watch a movie at home in my own car bubble. In my own
what he's saying is, like, you drive into the movie and you tune your radio.
That's the way they did it in 1940.
Is it really?
They did with one speaker, but now you've got Sirius XM.
Of course. Sirius, right, is in your car.
And you don't have to listen to the person next to you chirping or doing whatever.
Then I get popcorn all over my car. I'm a very sloppy popcorn eater. Then I go to the car wash the next day and get the butter and shit off my car.
So Bill, let's to summarize. Obviously, you think it's going to open up in 2021 and not this year? Is that what
I think there's nothing this year.
I think everybody does, because number one, insurance is depending on vaccine. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I know festivals and stuff. What about, like 4th of July is a big date coming up in 3 weeks. Is it a symbolic? Is there somebody who's going to do a big 4th of July?
I think if you want to be in a crowd for 4th of July, you're going to go to a Black Lives Matter rally. And if you were a band right now, I would be looking at playing an outdoor rally, because that is going to be, you might not get paid for it, but
we can't monetize
it's I mean, didn't somebody film? I think somebody filmed a rap video on Hollywood Boulevard the other day.
The video is different than a concert, because again, that all gets back down to the insurance of it all.
If it's a free, what I'm saying, if it's a free concert on July the 4th, during all these big protests, I mean, why not? I mean, if I was a band...
I'm going to tie this back into the beginning of this conversation, Joe, talking about U2. They need to get back on the top of a rooftop, do Streets Have No Name.
They invented it. They invented they created this 30 years ago, 33 years ago, 87.
I think the Beatles,
Streets Have No Name.
I think the
Beatles did. Right? All We Need Is Love. No, what was the song?
Yeah.
It was the last concert.
Yeah, on the BBC.
But the U2 thing was big because the cops showed up.
And
that's our generation. We grew up with the U2 Streets Have No Name on the rooftop.
But also,
that's where it's at. That's where it's at now.
But also AC/DC, It's a Long Way to the Top video where they're on the back of the truck.
Yeah.
So
there's ways.
It's all been done.
So let's start wrapping this up. So Bill,
okay.
Thanks for your insight, man. It's
Well, yeah.
Are you enjoying the wild turkey, by the way? You've had it before.
Man, I'll tell you what. This wild turkey, for a multitude of reasons, the flavor, the price,
it really is good. I'm blown away.
Fantastic. It really is fantastic. And I'll be honest with you. Prior to you guys introducing this podcast to me, I kind of looked down my nose at wild turkey. I was totally wrong. 100%.
I think everybody does. For whatever reason. I think it's because of the price point.
Yeah, we both felt exactly the same.
And it's on every.
And we're like, let's try it and see honestly what it tastes like.
Yeah,
this is a premium. To me, this is a premium bourbon.
Oh, to me, it's
I will drink it from here on in.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very enjoyable drink. I mean,
it's fantastic. Is not enough to describe this. I mean, Rich, we almost killed the whole bottle. We're almost out.
That's a good sign.
Right. That's your second bottle. Okay.
Phil's only second bottle.
Hey guys, let's start wrapping this.
All right. Can I ask you one quick question? You've got the globe there in the background. Do you spin that around and figure out, whiskeys of the world? Because
no, we're gonna chop it in half and make an ice container out of it.
That's perfect, because you guys definitely.
We don't have an ice container yet. We're like, let's chop the globe in half. But so here we are.
Yeah, well, I think we'll be discovering some whiskeys around the world.
We like the globe because it's bringing our unity and our international flair.
Don't sleep on New Zealand Belgrove whiskey.
Hey, we'll take the recommendation and we'll talk to them and see. So, guys, I want to thank everybody. Thank Bill. Bill Kittle, thanks also for being here, bud.
Yeah, cheers. Round of applause.
Fantastic. I think it's a nice insight into the concert world. and just kind of where we're going, the future of things.
Yeah, I hope people learned something
sporting
from that.
events, WWE, huge, UFC, NASCAR, and concerts is a huge thing. So let's see where it's going. Thank you for the insight, Bill, and cheers to you, bud, for being
cheers,
our
Bill.
first awesome guest.
Thanks for
having
joining
a nice wild turkey with us.
Thanks for joining the idiots.
So, Rich, let's wrap this up. What do you think? The wild turkey? I think we've said enough.
I think it's an absolute winner. I mean,
absolute winner.
Gosh.
I mean, we're not going to be dishonest on this. If there's something we don't like, we're going to say we don't like it.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's a few out there I don't like that I know.
I walked into this with a preconceived idea, and I've been blown away by this. I've just been like, wow, that is bang for the buck. It
is banging.
It's banging.
It's banging.
It's
absolutely brilliant.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you, England.
All right.
So, guys, I want to wrap it up. Thank you. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Rich. Don't forget to hit us on the social media. We are at Whiskidiots. And also, you can email us at whiskidiots@gmail.com. Too many goddamn.
Oh, my God.
We're almost done with this bottle.
Right.
Whiskidiots@gmail.com. You can hit us on Instagram or Twitter at Whiskidiots. Also, we have our YouTube channel. Just search for Whiskidiots.
Yeah.
We're on there. You can actually watch this debacle happen. Let your friends know. We are Whiskey for Dummies by Dummies. That's really what we do. We are not experts. We are not whiskey distillers. We're not whiskey makers. We are professional.
We're professional idiots.
Yes. Thanks, guys. Have a good one
All
tonight.
right. Cheers. Thanks a lot.
And be responsible to the drink and drive, everybody. Have a good night. Thank you.